There's HaShulchan Yardeh, Siman Lamed Hey, Sif Mem Dalet to Mem Zayin. This is Supplemental Day 203 of the HaShulchan Yomi. Mem Dalet. It seems to be a simple thing. That the signs which we talk about, which indicate that there are two unos. Similar to the sign of the there should not be a change in the norm, anything from the norm. Shama Shem state unos, such as when we say there are two unos, going godless unos, such as the size of Mr. Run, and the way they look. We have to be able to recognize them by looking at them. That if we say that because there's a crack or something, can be there for the two of them. Each one is according to the countenance and the form which it has. And the vardo also has to be according to its normal position or its normal countenance. And it seems from there, from the Gedolim, the Simcha Chadasha, the Prime, this is what they hold. Look, if not, okay, let's say they're two unos because of the crack. But they look different. The virus also different is in the wrong place. Because I think when Ramah, the Matrip unos, who says the trait if the unos to take on a different form. I feel man the Machshay Bezek, even though it goes to hold that's okay, the unos look different. Nevertheless, how can we rely on the Simonim, which we are using as kind of like a backup to say that the right number of unos can rub to us ownership of animals. It goes against the way unos normally look in most animals. However, if he's a kosher Rabbein Ramah, similar to the Ramah, the Machshir Beheker Sedek, who says it's okay if you rely on the sign of a crack. But my command, what are we talking about? Even though my day is Sedek, if we say through the crack, if we use them to unos, each one will have the proper form and countenance on it, such as in its length and its thickness, or its size, or its lack thereof. You came Mama the Heker Sedek. Why do we need the Heker or the sign of the crack? The general format should suffice. But we're compelled to say the Heker Sedek by having that sign of the crack, it's not sufficient to say that each one has its form and its countenance. Right? That's the case. So what good does the crack do? If he's the one who says that if they look different, they're no good. It's true, we could say that we're talking about a case where that based on the crack, they do look more or less like the most normally look. But as well as and we explained that even according to Ramah, when they look equivalent to what the normals look like the kosher, then there's only a question of the correlating the one to the other, but in itself, it's there's leeway. They're not kitzuras and if they're not exactly like the normal, that's not a problem. But still with those to say, it's okay, however, the partial system, Ramesh should explain, it's not left as for us to assume. Kind of conversation she's supposed to have him, stuck him. Also, all the rabbis among the Rishonim who mentioned this leniency of the cracks, they didn't say anything about the format of the unos. Says seems clear to me. The Mrakish Heker Sedek Osiman Acher, there's just this sign of the crack or some other sign that these are two unos. We must not care what they look like in their countenance. Matzal Varda and the situation of the Vardo Chayotzibze. Time also. What would the reason be? We say we say that since they become adhere to each other and cling to each other, Therefore, artificially, their forms and the countenances and their arrangements have changed. Before they clung together, they were all fine and dandy. Then they changed. But and logic dictates this. Because they became glued together. They became thicker, or these got. I got cut off there. So I'm not sure what to think of to. She's Nisabu, they became thicker, Niskatsu, or shorter, Sarkur extended. Kiderek, Shnei, Abramish, Stuff, like two organs which connect to each other. Shir Shalom, Yos, Mamish, Kutumnas, Rishon. They can't be precisely what they make their original form. It's always that way. Neo Lachad Zuachak. Because the pressure and um, the tension, um, however you put it, wanted to translate that. The Shem Shnid B'Kud Zeh, just like they became glued to each other, clung to each other, at Eza Siba, for some reason. Mochenstein Suras, and therefore their form has changed. Eza Bazooka is the same reason. Kama Vard and Yus Komeres and Mokam Achim and Eza Bazooka. And the Vard also seems like it's dislocated on account of that reason. Rame, Bamas, B'Shor Shem Mokam Rishon, but in fact, in truth, they're still in their first place. They look different. Therefore, none of the rabbis mention any of this. The hechsher and mekayma are made rather than they remain kosher. Dami mamish tzamka mitzvah, it's very much like a lung which became partially shriveled. Shanui dankin she'una yoser gedol nasis klana. You would see that the una, which should have been the largest one, becomes smaller. Nikos emes or should never remains kosher. So here's the same thing. Whereby they're clinging together, their form has changed. Memzain. This is going to say the pizza una urena. If you have a branch off in the top una, it helps to make up a missing una below it. Even though we're lenient, we don't consider the branch off within an una to be an additional una, which would be a problem. Whatever circumstances. Much is better to say. As we shall see. We do say it makes up the amount of units that you need. It's always mesedek and superior than a crack. Crazy placing. HaShulchan does not like this. It says, it's astonishing. How does a branch off help to make up an additional the missing una? Also, una needs spots of that branch off. We consider that una has branched off. How can we consider to a separate una? We understand the cracks. We understand the crack to be distinct. Each una is separate. Above pizza, but a branch off evidently is not the same thing as a crack. I don't know exactly what the difference is, but somehow a branch off, I guess, means where you have the tubes branching off inside without having a crack, which is recognizable on the outside. So something along those lines. Mishnah says the crack, we understand, right? It's a una by itself. Our pizza, how can it be an una by itself? Well, the Klein's bar also was here already explained. You see, my meches. Shall I say, instead it doesn't work unless it's it's graphically, it's anatomically, in the place where it would be actually a gap between unos if there was a real gap. Many people say a branch over in the una is not going to work that way. They can't rely on the crazy placing, and the base of time writes that as well. It for today.